Okay, so I'm gonna get started here. I want to start this off with Farrakhan lecture. We talk about satanic Jews. So I'm gonna get ready to do some invites. I'm gonna go to the commentary by Farrakhan.
Satan. He's referred to in every major section of the New Testament. He is supreme in the realm of evil spirits.
So if y'all notice, I got Marley Redemption song playing in the background. And we're going to hear what Farrakhan had to say about the satanic Jews. And then I'm going to address the satanic Jews. And while he's talking, I'm going to let y'all watch the video while I do my invites. Why would you think I'm in a truck? No, Andy, I'm in the dungeon. If I stop smoking, then I'll be one of them holier than thou motherfuckers. So I gotta keep smoking for now. I'm gonna quit eventually, but right now, in order to people to not think I'm some alien motherfucker, I smoke. Alright, so listen to what the minister got to say. This is gonna set us off on a journey today. And we're gonna find out.
I don't have no army. I just know the truth.
So let me go ahead, just ain't cooperating.
Banning me from a social platform?
Alright.
I use that platform with respect. That's right. I never allowed those who follow me to become vile as those who speak evil of us. So I am dangerous. Not to you, unless you feel that Father Pfleger's invitation to me may hurt Saint Sabina. They don't have the power to hurt Saint Sabina.
The internet connection runs slow when I start trying to tell y'all some good shit.
Hey, I want to show you something. Go ahead and skip this video if you don't like gadgets. But I'm a dad.
If you don't give them that power. I thank you for listening to me. I have not said one word of hate.
No, sir.
I do not hate Jewish people. Not one that is with me has ever committed a crime against the Jewish people, black people, white people, no matter what your color is. As long as you don't attack us, we don't bother you. So you met me tonight. Social media, you met me tonight. plead with the rulers, let the truth be taught. I plead because this is the only thing that will make America not great again, make America truly great. If you allow me to tell the truth that God has revealed to his servant, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, that he taught me, we can save America from her destructive fall. Yes, sir. I'm not a misogynist. No, sir. No, sir. I'm not a homophobe.
Pay attention, y'all, because he about to go into it. Who the enemy is.
If I stand up on God's word. But I don't hate my brothers and sisters who have been exposed to the great deception.
Here we go.
Taking the word God is love, and I love my brother. In fact, we kissed when I came up here. And this is not queer. This is straight up love. So from tonight,
Peace, Brother Kareem,
go home.
Dr. Kadeem Mill, Harmony Rogers, my Chaos Queen. I see you in there. I have no clue who that female is.
Jail, what they call Facebook jail. We have a teaching about the maker of the white race.
Here we go.
His followers were put in jail.
Pay attention.
I wonder, is it Facebook jail? And everywhere they looked, there was another one. Till all the jails got filled up. And that's when the president said, I think I better go and start a dialogue with Farrakhan. Because this false mess to give you civil rights and take it back, you owe us. And I'm here, by God's permission, to tell all of you what justice looks like. It's not a white woman, a TV show, and a nice car, and a nice home. I got all of that too. But I ain't robbed nobody.
You must have missed it. We'll go back to the beginning. Let me show where you at right here. 624.
Fear. I don't have no army. I just know the truth. I love you. I love you because God loves you and wants to free you from the grip of Satan, that we may build a righteous world.
Now he said the grip of Satan.
Father Pfleger will be in that righteous world. You can believe it. He's a true servant of Jesus the Christ. Thank you for listening.
It was in here somewhere. As you see right here, he said, I'm here to separate the good Jews from the satanic Jews. So, I don't know why they get that. That wasn't correct. Let's try it again. It got to be at the beginning.
This is
I want y'all to hear him say it, so when I go to the next thing,
It's this that they fear. I don't have no army. I just know the truth. And I'm here to separate the good Jews from the satanic Jews.
did you hear that? So he say, I'm here to separate the good Jews from the satanic Jews. Now this lead me to believe that there's two group of people who profess to be Jews. One people are the true chosen people, and the other people are imposters. But then we got another issue. First, before we can determine who the imposter and who is real, we have to figure out exactly what is a Jew. So the elders that tell us what time it is, like here, watch this.
With fact. Who exactly is a Jew? There was no word called Jew in the ancient world. The word Jew did not come out of Africa. It did not come out of Western Asia. It is a European word. There are people of the Hebrew faith all over the world. There are black Hebrews, there are brown Hebrews, there are yellow Hebrews. How is it that a bunch of Europeans called Jews dominate the word Jew to the extent of making you think that the very faith Hebrew is exclusive to them, leaving out all other people?
Okay, now that's Dr. Clark. He's asking the question, exactly what is a Jew? Who is these people? Where they come from? Right? Now, don't think it's just our people asking the question. Because when we get to the next one, we find this to be dealing with the same subject matter. But nobody is tracking the answer. So here we find Jordan Maxwell, self-raised master, discussing the same topic. What is a Jew and what is an anti-Semite? And listen to what he got to say. Because as I go through these thumbnails, I'm going to show y'all.
Another thing that bothers me too when it comes to religion. There is a world of difference between Jewish and being anti-Semitic.
There's a world of difference between being
and anti-Jewish. Doesn't mean the same thing at all. So when you hear someone use the term anti-Semitic, just remember that there's 4 kinds of Semitic: North, East, South, and West Semitic. And there are 13 different races of people in.
He said there's 13 different races of people classified as Semitic.
The world that are Semitic. The Arabs are Semitic.
Arabs are Semitic?
So when you say someone's anti-Semitic, it means that they are against 13 races of people in the world, 13 nations. So when somebody says something about Jewish, it's anti-Jewish, not anti-Semitic. So it's just a small point, but it's big with me because people use terms and they use the wrong terms and don't understand what they're saying.
So now he say people use a term and it be the wrong term and they don't understand what they saying. So let's see if we can't figure out exactly what the hell are we saying when we say Jew. First, we need to find out what is a Semite. Now the root word to Semite is semi. So what do that mean? What is semi? This word right here, add a TE, you had a word Semite. Now if you look right here, it's a common borrowing from Latin, meaning half, freely prefixed to English words of any origin, now sometimes with the senses partially, incompletely, or somewhat. So now, the original meaning of this word in Latin meant half. So then, what would the suffix be? I have to show you the suffix because it's an Egyptian word, ta. And so we go over here and we say ta. Man, I don't like this slow computer stuff. Not responding. I'll never have a problem until I get on there and start doing a live video, and then the computer don't want to run, don't want to show the information. I wonder why. Wonder why. Let's try something, see if it works. This shouldn't be running this slow. This is a brand new computer. There's no way it should be running this slow. Alright, so here, go up here. Still ain't working. Maybe we can get some cooperation. So the word semi mean half, and in the Egyptian, the word ta means like flesh, but it comes from, it actually means the earth, right? But by implication, it's talking about flesh, the body, right? So we go in here and we say ta in Egyptian language. And you'll find that your suffix goes back to what they call tamare. Tamare, ta being the first prefix to the word tamare, which is talking about the land of Kim. And this thing runs so slow right now. I never have a problem until I start doing something on here. See if I can do this. No, it's not working. So, the word Semite, it means half Egyptian or half of a race of people, half of a group. Bloodlines is speaking here, it's talking about the bloodlines. Oh, my computer keep freezing up every time I do a video. So when you look at the 12 tribes, you look at the 12 tribes of Israel. I'm gonna flip this around so y'all can look at me while I'm talking, because this ain't cooperating. When you look at the history of the tribes, right? They tell you that the Holy Land is in the Middle East, and that the chosen people are these people that they call Jews or Hebrews, and that these people migrated out of the Middle East into various parts of the world and became scattered in what they call the Great Diaspora of the Israelites. But what they don't tell y'all is that the Great Diaspora did not cease till this day. So there's a constant spreading out of the DNA of those who's supposed to be the chosen people. But what is it all about? If I can ever get my computer to, I can show y'all some information that it'll make sense, and then y'all understand what's going on. Because you can never escape an oppression if you don't know who your oppressor is and how he operates. So, Farrakhan,
Pipe Drive.
he here to separate the good Jews from the satanic Jews. Now, I showed y'all the other day how Moors were Zionists, and these Moors were mulattoes. Now, when you go back in American history, you find that every single slave revolt on record is what you call a house nigga rebelling against master. There's no record of the field Negroes, the ones that work the field, they call plantation Negroes, rebelling against the system. Yeah. So what takes place when you look everywhere you find dark-skinned, woolly-haired people, you find somebody lurking among them like an old rogue jackal following the pack of lions for the kill. And these people call themselves Jews. So when they call themselves Jews, we don't know what the hell they talking about, because we don't know deep into history. So when we go back to, let's see if we can look it up now. Still ain't cooperating. All right, let's just go back to the Jew situation. Okay, so then you go from the word semi, meaning half, and then next, here, you will see you get the word Semite. You see where it say I-T-E? Right? Because you got to have the whole word broke down into syllables. So semi mean half, but Semite mean, it comes from, they say, Shem, right? From modern Latin, Semita. Now keep this in mind that this is Latin. See right here? And it comes from the Latin word Semita. Now let's go back for a second. I want to show y'all something else, because it's important to know the history of the language so that you can keep track of the deception. When you don't know the history of the language, the deception will get by you. If you look right here in the word half, right? No, it's supposed to be semi. Come on now. Okay, right here, the word semi means half. But look where it's from. It's from the Latin. Right? Now you got to know who wrote the Latin language for this to make sense. Now, semi is Latin, meaning half. Let's say it right here. Now, Semite is also Latin. Now this is where the deception come in. If you're not paying attention, this is where you get deceived at. So I'm going to walk you through it so you can see the deception. Semite, Latin, Semita, via the late Latin from the Greek Sem or Shem, son of Noah in the Bible. Now this is all a bunch of crap. This part right here. The word doesn't change. It still means half. When you translating the word, when you're looking at the etymology, it still means half. But we're going to take it a step further, because what are they half? If you look right here, just one, right under the definition, you say a Jew, an Arab, a Syrian, or Armenian. Right? So these are the different people that would be some of the different people classified as Semite, right? Now, the modern day so-called Jew breaks down into three groups. The Sephardi, the name Sephardi means Spanish or Hispanic. Now remember, I told y'all the Moors were conquistadors that were masquerading as Hispanic Caucasians, but they was dark-skinned, woolly-haired, more to light-skinned Moors, they were the ones that we had to get the secret back, the secret password, so we'd know how to read their language, so that we could figure out our way out of the trap. So this is why they killed Jacques de Molay over at the in front of Notre Dame, and that's why they had to get a reminder of the Notre Dame. Right? Who by God? So here you have your Sephardic Jews, right? And they tell you right here, Jews of Spain. Jews of Spain, right here. Portuguese. Now remember I told y'all the Portuguese, right, were also Moors. Look, the Portuguese scientific name is called Judaeus Sephardidus. That's for a Sephardic Jew, a Portuguese order. Now look, in Spanish it's Judeos Sephardes. Same mother, they're the same people, different language. Now look, originally from Shepherd, Spain, or Sepharad, Spain, is a biblical place name, an uncertain location. Now they trying to tie him back into the Bible, but in a minute I'm going to show you there's no tribe of Israel called Sephardi. They don't exist. They don't exist. These people right here are Spanish and Portuguese, Moors, half-breed mulatto Moors, right? Look, this Iberian Peninsula, where they come from, is located in the southwest corner of Europe. The peninsula is principally divided between Spain and Portugal, comprising most of their territory. It also includes Andorra, a small areas of France, and British overseas territory of Gibraltar. Remember they always talked about the Rock of Gibraltar. Now you know why. It's tying you back in to the fake Jews. Now watch what it say, are a Jewish ethnic division. Now, what it mean? Refers to a number of distinctive communities within the world's ethnically Jewish population, right? So now we know now that the so-called Sephardi Jew is actually from Spain, right here, in the Northwest Africa. Northwest Africa. That's why they was talking about Northwest of Mexico, so they can confuse you. A Mexim comes from the word Oxum. Oxum is a word from this region over here of Africa, and it was descriptive. Oxum comes from the word Oxumi, which means dark skin, woolly. It is a East African Nile Valley term that goes all the way down into the Sudan and Ethiopia. It's not here what they call in the Mexim. This is the illusion. I'm gonna bust this shit in the head for y'all once and for all. So y'all gonna know who the enemy is when we get done today. So this part of the map right here, this is where they from. The Sephardi. Now, it's two other people, groups, claiming to be the chosen people. You got your Ashkenazi and your Khazar. So let's see who the next ones is. Who is the next imposters up to identify? The Ashkenazi. Right now, the majority of Ashkenazi, this is one of their Jewish sites, by the way. The majority of Ashkenazi Jews are descended from prehistoric European women, according to study published today, October the 8th. Right? And this is called Genetic Roots of Ashkenazi Jews. Now, according to Judaica, or Jewish law, they pass their birthright through the father lineage. Why are they bringing up the mother lineage here? Right? Why are they bringing up the mother's lineage when they're talking about the Ashkenazi? Because they have to be, listen now look, while the Jewish religion began in the Near East, and the Ashkenazi Jews were believed to have origins in the early indigenous tribes of this region, New evidence from mitochondrial DNA, which passed on exclusively from mother to child, suggests that female ancestors of most modern Ashkenazi Jews converted to Judaism in the northern Mediterranean around 2,000 years ago and later in West and Central Europe, right? The new findings contradict previous assertions that Ashkenazi mitochondrial lineage originated in the Near East and from mass conversions of Judaism in the Khazar Kingdom, an empire in the North Caucasus region between Europe and Asia lasted from the 7th to the 11th century, whose leaders adopted Judaism. Now notice it said they adopted Judaism. That means they're not born into this tribe. We talking Ashkenazi, right? I'm going to show you where they come from. And they're telling you where they come from right here. We found that most of the maternal lineages don't trace to the North Caucasus, which would be a proxy for the Khazarians, which would mean this would be a backdoor entrance into the world stage as a Khazarian Jew, but it's not matching is what they're saying. Or the Near East, but most of them emanate from Europe. So they didn't even classify the Caucasus as Europe. Said co-author Martin Richardson, an archaeogeneticist of the University of Huddersfield in the UK. Now, this is all they scientists saying this. I'm just pointing it out to y'all. Look, the Ashkenazi Jews make up the majority of the Jews today and most recently have ancestry in Central or Eastern Europe. Previous work has demonstrated that just for 4 mitochondrial types passed down from 4 mothers account for 40% of variation in Ashkenazi Jews' mitochondrial DNA, and some researchers have published evidence of Near Eastern origins for the Ashkenazi mitochondrial types. Now, this is saying they're tracking the Ashkenazi through the mother line. That means they're not European. That means they're not European. Because the only patriarchal lineages that came through the Abrahamic lineages are in Europe, in Islam. The Hebrews are not supposed to be matriarchal, or are they? Because it tells you in Genesis to leave your mother and father and to cling to your wife. Now, to further investigate the matrilineal lines of Ashkenazi Jews, Richards and colleagues looked at mitochondrial genome sequences in living Jews and non-Jews from the Near East, Europe, and the Caucasus. Based on the results, the team concluded that, in contrast to the evidence for many Ashkenazi males whose Y chromosome DNA suggests likely origin of the Near East, the female lineage of Ashkenazi Jews have substantial ancestry in Europe. Now, I told y'all that when they invaded as Byzantine kings and conquered Spain is when they began to use the skin-based system that they had developed under Alexander when they sent him into India to get the blueprints from the caste system. The caste system is the origin of what you call skin-based racism, but it was based off socioeconomics and family talents and skills. Here they want to base it off skin, and they call it white supremacy. It's a military doctrine. These are your Ashkenazi. Now, there's another group of so-called Jew called Khazarians. Now, this is where it gets thick, because these is the main Zionists behind the plot right here. So I want y'all to see this good and clear. It say Khazarians were Turkic. Now remember I told you that they came as Byzantine kings. Byzantium Empire was a Turkish empire. The Moors, the Beys, come out of the Turkish Empire. Remember I showed y'all the other day the flag of the Beys, the red, yellow, and orange flag that they conceal, because if you find that out, you will know who running shit. Now, origin, the Khazarians were a Turkic people who originated in Central Asia. The earliest history of the Khazars in southern Russia prior to the middle of the 6th century is hidden in obscurity. They telling you it's hidden. From about 550 to 630, the Khazars were part of Western Turkish Empire ruled by the Celestial Blue Turks. This right here, pay attention. Celestial Blue Turks. They calling them aliens, blue aliens. That's what they telling you that landed in Turkey. Now look at the map. This area this is the Byzantine Empire right here. Right, as you look at it. And then this is the domain of the Khazarian. Right here. See the 6-point star right there? Look where the cross here, the Islamic here. This is Hungary up here. This was the Holy Roman Empire. Here's Italy here. And Rome is here. The Khazarians were bankers that lent money to kings and emperors in this time frame that we're looking at. They are the ones who bankrolled the rise of Rome here under the Holy Roman Empire, right? Their adversaries was Greece. And the Greeks were who Alexander rose up under. Alexander was a plant, the same as George Washington, the same as Muhammad Karzai, because they needed him to perform a function, and the only military at the time that was strong enough to do it was the Greek, that was a non-African military. If you watch, they never go in to confront what we call the Candace Queens. The Candace Queens were a group of African warrior women in Ethiopia, and nothing they can do with the Candace Queens. So I'm going to show you who they were. You look up the Candace Queens. I'm not going to go into reading on them. I'm just going to show y'all some of the images of what they looked at like. I want y'all to see the Candace Queens. You see? Queen Candace, she was one of them that they was named after because of what they call the Sybil effect. All women who believed and felt the same way could carry that title as a name. So you might have Candace Michelle, Candace Marie, but they would all be called a Candace, the same as if you call somebody officer, right? Empress of Ethiopia and General-in-Chief of his armies, waiting for Alexander the Great to cross his punk ass to the new borderline of the First Cataract. Alexander, having conquered Egypt easily, decided against the invasion of the ancient center of black power and halted his army at the First Cataract. Look at the year. Master number 33.2. Look. Ta Seti. This is the same word when I told you that Ta mean earth. This mean the land of Set. That's what that means. Ta Seti mean the land of Set. Now check this out. This is a Nubian queen, right? This is the land that they call Meroe. Now, me and some Moors had a very extensive dialogue about Meroe, and I got that recorded in letters. But when you look, you see them. It's not a secret. You see it right here? Now, they want you to believe that those Europeans who popped up out of nowhere were strong enough to defeat these empires. They weren't. They had to have somebody that was us. It had to be somebody like us. Somebody with our knowledge, somebody that has celestial knowledge, somebody that was a blue blood. Right? Now, as we move on through the thumbnails, you see there's 12 tribes of Israel. We're going to go through them because you're not going to see a Khazar, an Ashkenazi, or a Sephardi. Look, one of them is Reuben. The second is Simon. The third is Judah. The fourth is Levi. The fifth is Issachar. The sixth is Zebulun. The seventh is Benjamin. The eighth is Dan. The ninth is Asher. The 12th is Gad. And Joseph, which was part of the tribe of Gad. And Israel itself as the over tribe makes 13. Right? Did anybody see Ashkenazi, Khazar, or Sephardi in there? Let me go up here and see what's going on in my inbox. I don't see who you talking to. Yeah. I don't know what Joshua said. I don't even see his comment in there. Now, when you go and you see that there's no tribe of Sephardi, Ashkenazi, or Khazar, the next question is, who the hell are those people claiming to be Jews? So, none of them exist. Ashkenazi, Sephardi, Khazar, they don't exist in the 12 tribes. So who the hell are they? Let's see. Let's keep it on. Let's keep on moving through these thumbnails. Dinah, the 13th tribe. That's because actually Dinah is the matriarch of the tribes of Israel. She's actually Diana, which is actually Inanna, which is actually Isis, which goes back to the name Abraham, meaning the heart of Ra, and the only one called the heart of Ra in the Book of the Dead or anywhere else was what we call the Queen of Heaven and Earth, Isis. So she was the heart of God that became known as Abraham when they distorted the book and tried to take our teachings. Now, when we look, Mount Zion is where Zionism is supposed to be referring you to, right? Now, this says that Mount Zion is a Hebrew term, is a hill in Jerusalem located just outside the walls of the old city. The term Mount Zion has been used in the Hebrew Bible first for the city of David and later for the Temple Mount, but its meaning has shifted. They just told you, they just changed the meaning. And it is now used for the name of ancient Jerusalem Western Hill. In a wider sense, the term is also used for the entire land of Israel. Now, they tricking us, and I'm going to show you why. This word Zion, it's talking about the Mount of Sin in Babylon. They call it Gobekli Tepe. And this is where the fallen ones landed before they started wreaking all this havoc. So we go from Mount Zion and we look a little deeper and we find Mount Sinai, because the Z and the S is the same. It's the same place. But they say Mount Sinai, right? Now remember, the last one they told you they moved it. They changed it. Now watch this. Also known as Mount Moses, is a mountain in the Sinai Peninsula of Egypt. Now, this one is in Egypt, but it's the same thing. That is a possible location of possible, speculative, meaning misdirection, location of the biblical Mount Sinai, right? Which is considered a holy site by the Abrahamic religions. Mount Sinai is mentioned many times in the book of Exodus and other books of the Bible and the Quran. According to Jewish, Christian, Islamic tradition, the biblical Mount Sinai was a place where Moses received the 10 Commandments. Now, they're still giving you misdirection because, look, a possible location, that's speculative, which means this is not the truth, right? And then they tell you over here that it is considered a holy site. And we all know that the holy sites are always kept sacred. And if you keep them sacred, you got to keep them secret. So that means that everywhere they told us that is so far, that's not where it's at. That's not Zion. But I'm going to show you where it's at before it's over. You understand it a little better. Okay, it says, okay, now this word is two words, sin, S-I-N, and A-I. Now in Egypt, the word that you use in the Hebrew E-L is capital A, apostrophe, capital A, and it's pronounced Aya instead of Ao. That's the difference. So this is Lord seeing. Actually what this is saying. Lord seeing. Well, is this verifiable? If Ai in Kemetic means like chieftain or lord, then seeing would have to have be a personal pronoun or a title. So there was a god named Sin in Babylon. Let's see. This is the ziggurat of Ur. Remember Ur the Chaldees, right? See this ziggurat of Ur? This is supposed to be is a Neo or New Sumerian ziggurat in what was the city of Ur near Nicaea in present-day Dehechar province, Iraq. The structure was built during the early Bronze Age but had crumbled to ruins by the 6th century BCE of the New Babylonian period when it was restored by the king. Now look, they're just telling you it was destroyed by the 6th century. So when the 6th century came around, this didn't exist. Now remember the Tower of Babel. It was a ziggurat and it was destroyed. Right? Now look, this one, they rebuilt it. This ain't the original. It tell you right here. The structure was built during the early Bronze Age but had crumbled to ruins by the 6th century of the New Babylonian period. That means it wasn't there in the 6th century, but they rebuilt it. Now watch this. When you go over here and you find out now, let's go to the top so y'all know what we're looking at. This is the God seeing. This, when they call you a sinner, they lying to you and thinking that it's something you're doing wrong. That's not the case. The God seeing has a particular set of practices that makes you a sinner by following his method. But we got to find out who he is. Now, we already did discover that the Khazars talk about Mount Zion. Mount Zion is Mount Sion, and Mount Sion is the Sinai, and the Sinai is the Seeing Ai, or Lord Seeing, which is an Egyptian Lord Set, or Set in. E-N mean Lord. So it means Lord Set. Now we're talking about Satan the devil. Who in the hell is he? Now we get into this and we understand that the word seeing or suing, now all Nubians gonna automatically know what's going on now. Because your Pops talk about this pretty heavy in the Nubian literature. When he talk about the tablets of Zuin or Inzu. I'm not making this shit up. It's all here. I'm using common reference sites so y'all can look it up. I know it off the head from studying, but I gotta show it to y'all because I don't got no alphabets, and y'all think that mean they know something and they actually the enemy. Now, Nana, notice the word Nana, what y'all call Big Mama. Nana is a Sumerian deity, the son of Enlil and Ninlil, and became identified with the Semitic sin. Right? I'm not making this shit up. You can look it up. Now, let's go down here to the seat of worship. Nana's chief sanctuary at Ur. Now, the word Ur means fire, and I'm going to come back to that. Was named E-Gishur-Gal, House of the Great Light. Right? it was at that the role of the En priestess, you see that word En? That's the priestess of the Lord, or the Lord's priestess, developed. This was an extremely powerful role held by a princess.
Hey guys, Toby Mathis here, and question I get all the time is,
Probably in Hedwana, in the earliest known poet whose name has been recorded. She was the high priestess of the goddess Inanna and the moon god Nana, Sin. Now look, the moon god Sin. She lived in the Sumerian city-state of right? There go the word again. That means fire. Now we're going to go to that later. But I'm going to keep mentioning so y'all, when I go to it, y'all know what I'm talking about and why I'm going there. Now, daughter of King Sargon. Sargon was the first king. Sargon the Great was supposed to be the first Sumerian king and was the primary cult role associated with the cult of Nana Sin. Right? So now Sin had a definite god named Sin, a definite place of worship called which was the city of fire, but they called it in the native tongue Agishurgal, which means the house of the great light, which Pharaoh mean the house of the light, or the lighthouse, or the bearer of the light of the house. So when you see Sin also had a sanctuary at city of Haran named El Huhu, house of joys, debauchery. Remember, it said the cult of the moon god spread to other sinners, so that the temples to him are found in all large cities of Babylonia. Now remember, I told y'all we're gonna go right back to Babylon with this shit, and Assyria. And sanctuary for Sin with Syriac inscription invoking his name dating back to the 2nd and 3rd century CE was found at Sumatra, Harabesi, and Tek Mountains, not far from Haran and Edessa. Now, when you're looking at this, what is you seeing? You seeing that there's a temple worship location where Sin was worshipped as a god. Those who worship Sin in modern terminology will be called a sinner. But those who wanted to rebuild this temple of Sin would be called Zionists or Zionists, because this would be their area of interest. Now notice, modern so-called Jews say anti-Zionism is not anti-Jewish or not anti-Semitic. They separate themselves. This is why. Because these are those Moors that sold us out. Those are the ones we had to go back and get the secret from. Now watch this. Now, this is the cult of the female Illuminati that I'm pulling up now. If I didn't accidentally delete it, I did. Okay, so then we get to the fallen angels. So I go to Chuck Missler for y'all, because this dude right here, he a Christian. And he'll start off with the script, tell you the truth, and then he'll close out with the script so you can get the truth. But watch what he say about the fallen angels.
Is the first link in the chain of prophecies about Jesus Christ, and that's where he gets the title, the seed of the woman. But many people miss that there's two seeds here. There's the seed of the woman, and there's the seed of the serpent. He later is called the Red Dragon in Revelation 12. He's the coming world leader, I call him. I don't like the term Antichrist because it's too limiting. And he has a sidekick by the name of the false prophet. So with Satan and the coming world political leader and the false prophet at his side, you've got a satanic counterfeit of a trinity.
See this?
Everything Satan does is a counterfeit. And these are the forces behind the world today.
See what he said?
And Daniel chapter 10 is your recommended study on the details of all of that.
So he even telling you that the world is ran by the people. He identified them. Let me go back a little bit. He identified them here. Wait, no. The seed of the serpent and the seed of the woman. Remember I showed y'all the broken pillars. Right? Now he's showing you who they are. He said these forces behind world powers today. Right? So then when you go to looking at their track record, this is how you find out what they up to. They tell you in literature of various types. Here's some books that you're going to be able to look for references. This Ralph Epperson is The Unseen Hand. He breaks down the whole construct of he breaks down the whole construct of the political structure and how they set it up and how they hide behind politics in order to effectuate their plan. So this is a necessary reference. Here's another reference. This is a novel, but don't lose the theme. Watch this. Now, we tend to take this, look at the name of the author. E.D.E.N. Southworth. That means this is an encoded book. There's a secret in this book, right? And they tell you, right, how to find it. But look, check it out. Southworth was one of the most popular, prolific writers of the 19th century. In her Capitola Black, or Black Cap, a cross-dressing, adventure-seeking woman was so well loved that the book was serialized 3 times between 1859 and 1888. See them triple eights? And was dramatized in 40 different versions. This is the seat of power. When we first meet sharp and witty Capitola, now keep in term the name, right? Look at the name. That's a Spanish name. But the book is English, The Hidden Hand, right? But it goes on. She is living among beggars and street urchins and dresses as a boy because a boy can get work and be safe, whereas a girl is left to starve for want of proper employment. Unknown to her, Capitola, and this is capitalism they're talking about here, has a very rich elderly guardian who finds her at a providential moment and takes her back to his palatial mansion, where she finds herself decomposing above ground for want of having my blood stirred. The blood rights. And this is talking about the crucifixion of the Christ. Right? So this is all coded. As you learn to read the signs, books like this come in important, because then they talk to each other in this format in the books. Right? Here's another reference for you. This is about their governments and how they manipulate governments. Right? This one, The Secret World Government, or The Hidden Hand. Right? A radical, sometimes offensive book tells the author's idea about government, religion, world power, the Rothschilds, and money. He also describes the hidden hand, the secret government of the world. So there's no secret there's a secret government. Watch this. Eisenhower presidency. Right? Now, watch the description for the book. Watch the description. Drawing on extensive interviews and archival research, Fred Greenstein reveals that there was great political activity beneath the placid surface of the Eisenhower White House. Now remember, Eisenhower was the one gave us the warning about military-industrial complex. Watch this. It says, in a new forward to this edition, he discusses developments in the study of the Eisenhower presidency in the dozen years since publication of the first edition. Now he's going into Eisenhower being put in power by somebody. Now watch this. When Eisenhower was leaving, this was his warning. Now y'all got to pay attention to that because he the president. Look how scared he look in the Oval Office. He in the Oval Office. He ain't on the street. He not at the press club. He giving this from the Oval Office. But look at his demeanor.
From the White House in the office of the President of the United States, we present an address by Dwight D. Eisenhower. This is the farewell address for President Eisenhower, whose 8 years as chief executive come to an end in being retired. Mr. Eisenhower has chosen this time for his final speech. Ladies and gentlemen, the President of the United States.
You can barely hear him.
Good evening, my fellow Americans. First, I should like to express my gratitude to the radio and television networks for the opportunities they have given me over the years to bring reports and messages to our nation. My special thanks go to them for the opportunity of addressing you this evening. 3 days from now, after half a century in the service of our country, I shall lay down the responsibilities of office as, in traditional and solemn ceremony, the authority of the presidency is vested in my successor. This evening, I come to you with a message of leave-taking and farewell, and to share a few final thoughts with you, my countrymen. Like every other citizen, I wish the new president and all who will labor with him Godspeed. I pray that the coming years will be blessed with peace and prosperity for all. Our people expect their president and the Congress to find essential agreement on issues of great moment, the wise resolution of which will better shape the future of the nation. My own relations with the Congress, which began on a remote and tenuous basis when, long ago, a member of the Senate appointed me to West Point, have since ranged to the intimate during the war and immediate post-war period, and finally to the mutually interdependent during these past 8 years. In this final relationship, the Congress and the administration have, on most vital issues, cooperated well to serve the nation good rather than mere partisanship, and so have assured that the business of the nation should go forward. So
now notice he said the business of the nation should go forward. Now, he about to get ready to warn y'all about something, and when you get done with the warning, that's where I'm going to stop it at.
so my official relationship with the Congress ends in a feeling, on my part, of gratitude that we have been able to do so much together. We now stand 10 years past the midpoint of a century that has witnessed 4 major wars among great nations. 3 of these involved our own country. Despite these holocausts, America is today the strongest, the most influential, and most productive nation in the world. Understandably proud of this preeminence, we yet realize that America's leadership and prestige depend not merely upon our unmatched material progress, riches, and military strength, but on how we use our power in the interest of world peace and human betterment. Throughout America's adventure in free government, our basic purposes have been to keep the peace, to foster progress in human achievement, and to enhance liberty, dignity, and integrity among peoples and among nations. To strive for less would be unworthy of a free and religious people. Any failure traceable to arrogance or our lack of comprehension or readiness to sacrifice would inflict upon us grievous hurt, both at home and abroad. Progress toward these noble goals is persistently threatened by the conflict now engulfing the world. It commands our whole attention, absorbs our
This is
very
where you
being.
get into the military-industrial
We face a hostile
complex at right here.
ideology, global in scope, atheistic in character, ruthless in purpose, and insidious in method.
Did y'all hear that? Listen.
We face a hostile ideology, global in scope, atheistic in character, ruthless in purpose, and insidious in method.
Did y'all hear that? Now, he just described the force that we face with. Now, watch what he say next.
Unhappily, the danger it poses promises to be of indefinite duration.
He said the danger ain't no end to this shit if we ain't paying attention. Watch.
To meet it successfully, there is call for not so much the emotional and transitory sacrifices of crisis to enable us to carry forward steadily, surely, and without complaint, the burdens of a prolonged and complex struggle with liberty, the state. Only thus shall we remain, despite every provocation, on our charted course toward permanent peace and human.
Now, he's saying America want to be on the course to peace, but he's also warning that we face with this particular threat, right? And this ain't going to be the last time you hear about this threat, because JFK mentioned it too. But watch this.
Human betterment. Crises there will continue to be. In meeting them, whether foreign or domestic, great or small, there is a recurring temptation to feel that some spectacular and costly action could become the miraculous solution to all current difficulties. A huge increase in newer elements of our defenses, development of unrealistic programs to cure every ill in agriculture, a dramatic expansion in basic and applied research. These and many other possibilities, each possibly promising in itself, may be suggested as the only way to the road we wish to travel. But each proposal must be weighed in the light of a broader consideration, the need to maintain balance in and among national programs.
Now, he's saying that in order for us to be on a steady course of peace, our national programs need to be balanced. They not balanced nowhere in this country right now. Now check him out, because he's about to go into the military-industrial complex.
Balance between the private and the public economy. Balance between the cost and hoped-for advantages. Balance between the clearly necessary and the comfortably desirable. Balance between our essential requirements as a nation and the duties imposed by the nation upon the individual. Balance between actions of the moment and the national welfare of the future. Good judgment seeks balance and progress. Lack of it eventually finds imbalance and frustration. The record of many days.
Now, everything he just said was Masonic in scope. And he was talking about the utilization of the laws of Mott in cleaning up the mess if we are paying attention to what's taking place. Now, later on in this video, I'm going to go up to about the 10-minute mark. He starts warning about the powers of the military-industrial complex. And this is the part.
Free university, historically the fountainhead of free ideas
He's talking about the education.
and scientific discovery, has experienced a revolution in the conduct of research. Partly because of the huge costs involved, a government contract becomes virtually a substitute for intellectual curiosity.
See that?
For every old blackboard, there are now hundreds of new electronic computers. The prospect of domination of the nation's scholars by federal employment, project allocations, and the power of money is ever present and is gravely to be regarded.
Now he's talking about people being able to control with the power of money all of the fields of science.
Yet in holding scientific research and discovery in respect, as we should, we must also be alert.
After an auto accident, insurance companies can try to outsmart you and pay you
An opposite danger that public policy could itself become the captive of a scientific, technological elite.
Now he's saying that if we ain't careful, we gonna end up being controlled by people that control science and technology and will place themselves in an elite position because of that.
It is the task of statesmanship to mold, to balance, and to integrate these and other forces, new and old, within the principles of our democratic system, ever aiming toward the supreme goals of our free society. Another factor in maintaining balance involves the element time. As we peer into society's future, we, you and I, and our government, must avoid the impulse to live only for today, plundering for our own ease and convenience the precious resources of tomorrow.
Now he's talking about people being so selfish that they can't see what's coming up, what's about to happen in the future. Now this is a president telling you to scry the future. But since we're talking about him, look at this on his tie. Most people wouldn't notice that, right? The position of his hands haven't changed. That's all messages to the brotherhood, right? The books on the shelf, all those are messages. See this? You see one over here. These, I'm not gonna do it now, but on my phone I have a picture of the tomb of Hiram. So this is a mirror. It's what he's portraying. The same, but different. So he's giving two messages at the same time. That's what he's telling you. The same, but different. The mirror. This is telling you that he's giving two messages. It's a split message in this program.
We cannot mortgage the material assets of our grandchildren without risking the loss also of their political and spiritual heritage. We want democracy to survive for all generations to come, not to become the insolvent phantom of tomorrow. During the long lane of the history yet to be written, America knows that this world of ours, ever growing smaller, must avoid becoming a community of dreadful fear and hate, and be instead a proud confederation of mutual trust and respect.
Now, he used the word confederation, right? So when he used the word confederation, he's not talking to what you call a United States citizen under the 14th Amendment. He's talking to the indigenous people of the land who actually hold the power, but they don't know it right now, right? So he's talking to their leadership that does know, but that under the threat of death can only expose so much at a time, right? So he's telling you what's taking place.
Such a confederation must be one of equals. The weakest must come to the conference table with the same confidence as do we, protected as we are by our moral, economic, and military strength. That table, though scarred by many past frustrations, cannot be abandoned for the certainty agony of disarmament, of the battlefield. Disarmament with mutual honor and confidence is a continuing imperative. Together we must learn how to compose differences, not with arms, but with intellect and decent purpose.
Now he's saying that if the world gonna make it, we gotta figure out how to solve the problems without blowing ourselves up, right? So he's telling you that he's about to warn you of something, because he's telling you there's a possibility of destruction looming.
Because this need is so sharp and apparent, I confess that I laid down my official responsibilities in this field with a definite sense of...
He said he laid his responsibilities down with a definite sense. That means his role as the president of the corporation, he abandoned that for a purpose. What was the purpose? He about to tell us.
Disappointment. As one who has witnessed the horror and the lingering sadness of war, as one who knows that another war could utterly destroy this civilization, which has been so slowly and painfully built over thousands of years, I wish I could say tonight that a lasting peace is in sight. Happily, I can say that war has been avoided. Steady progress toward our ultimate goal has been made, but so much remains to be done.
Now, he said steady progress toward our ultimate goal has been made. But what ultimate goal is he talking about? Now, this Eisenhower, and remember, as above, so below, he's telling you, mirror effect, he's talking to two people at the same time using double speak, political double speak. It's actually Masonic in nature. He's telling us everything.
As a private citizen, I shall never cease to do what little I can to help the world advance along that road. So in this, my last good night to you as your president, I thank you for the many opportunities you have given me for public service in war and in peace. I trust in that service you find some things worthy. As for the rest of it, I know you will find ways to improve performance in the future. You and I, my fellow citizens, need to be strong in our faith that all nations under God will reach the goal of peace with justice. May we be ever unswerving in devotion to principle, confident but humble with power, diligent in pursuit of the nation's great goals. To all the peoples of the world, I once more give expression to America's prayerful and continuing aspiration that peoples of all faiths, all races, all nations may have their great human needs satisfied, that those now denied opportunity shall come to enjoy it to the full.
Now, he's talking about civil rights or the balancing of the rights of the people so that there's no big I's and little U's. That message is for the indigenous elders who is working to overcome the oppression. But at the same time, he's going to come at the end with a warning.
That all who yearn for freedom may experience its spiritual blessings. Those who have freedom will understand also its heavy responsibility. That all who are insensitive to the needs of others will learn charity, and that the sources, scourges of poverty, disease, and ignorance will be made disappear from the earth. And that in the goodness of time, all peoples will come to live together in a peace guaranteed by the binding force of mutual respect and love. Now, on Friday noon, I am to become a private citizen. I am proud to do so. I look forward to it. Thank you, and good night.
I missed the part that he said military industrial.
We have presented the farewell address by the President of the United States, Dwight D. Eisenhower, who spoke this evening from his office in the White House.
You need to know the military industrial complex is what they call CENTCOM now, Central Command. And it's
the fighting men of World War II or Korea.
There was one person in Dwight Eisenhower's life whom he really confided almost everything to.
You with a message of leave-taking and farewell.
This speech did not get very much attention. When a new president is coming to power, as John Kennedy was, the spotlight was not on Dwight Eisenhower.
We have been compelled to create a permanent armaments industry of vast proportions.
There was a feeling at the time that this must have been written by some speechwriter who just sneaked into the speech.
In the councils of government, we must guard against the acquisition of unwarranted influence, whether sought or unsought, by the military-industrial complex.
Is you hearing? The military.
I made over $10 million on Amazon. If I lost it all and had to rebuild in